Hello, everybody. My name is Christian. I have to put my face down here. We're playing Magic the Gathering. I'm playing with my brother, Jason. We're playing a 1v1. He's using his Festering, which is black and red. I'm using my mono white angels. And I'm gonna get my ass kicked, but,
Potentially.
potentially, maybe. I'm not sure. Probably. Out of all the times I've faced my brother, you'd be surprised. Oh, this is already a crappy hand. Oh yeah, by the way, you can thank my brother for setting up this sweet camera ray. You can't really see our faces, but you can see what we're actually putting down on the field.
Which is really all that's important in a game. I mean, the players, it's nice to see their face, to see who you're watching, but when it comes down to it,
it's for your entertainment purposes only. I mean, I would like to show you guys my sweet, amazing face, even though we can't do that. That can be argued. But yeah. By the way, the music in the background is it belongs to their respective copyright. So his has 8. I rolled a 1, of course. I always roll a 1. So we're gonna be using dice.
you're going to be using 20-sided dice, which are considered as life counters. As you can see, it goes all the way from 1, works all the way around up to the symbol, which is going to be 20. 20 is going to be our starting life total. So,
and this is if you guys want to skip this whole part, like just forward ahead the video for a second. But this is just for the new players. Standard rules apply. It's our decks, 1 land per turn. No cheating, obviously. That's why all our cards are sleeved. As you can see, sleeves are really easy to buy. You can actually buy 200 of them, really cheap. Because I actually bought stuff on Amazon, which is like 200 black sleeves for $10.49 from Ultra Pro. So just get sleeves before you play a game, because it prevents cheating, and it's just nice to have your cards protected.
or even 100 sleeves for about $10 from Walmart is good enough. Those are going to be
Those
this quality sleeves. So,
and if you guys really want custom sleeves, you guys can just find something. I don't know. Maybe you guys can go to Sorry, I'm rambling here. Anyway, even skirmisher for 1.
So even though I rolled higher, he's going to take his turn first. What that means is that allows me to draw. So
yeah, you can't draw on your first turn, and my brother usually always chooses play, but he's choosing draw because I feel like that works with his festering deck. Some decks work differently than others. A lot of decks work differently than others, and some you actually need to draw.
Go ahead, 1
first.
swamp and a Typhoid Rat. Death Touch for 1/1 for 1 black mana.
You realize that, like, if you get first strike on that thing, it's instant, like, kill everything. Okay, so I'm in a bad predicament here. Cathedral Sanctifier. Passing another die. Yeah, Cathedral Sanctifier, 1 mana for 3 life, and a 1/1 creature. It's not bad, especially with Hado Free Riders, because then you can just bring it back every upkeep, and you're getting 3 life every single upkeep, which isn't really bad. This Ram does this for, like, every upkeep you get 1 life, so, I mean, it's not bad, but, preferably I would rather have Hado Free Riders and Cathedral Sanctifier. Now, if one of them gets killed, that ruins everything.
Alright, are you ending your turn?
Yeah, I'm done.
Untap, upkeep, draw.
And by the way, just to clarify something, we don't have sideboards. Now, if you do the Magic, sideboards are 15 cards that you have on the side in case your opponent switches decks or something like that. And number one, we don't have the time to have sideboards, and two, we don't really feel like sideboards are necessary to play the game. We feel that I feel that sideboards are good, but I don't need it now because we're not playing in tournaments. So
let's go with a Lightning Berserker as well.
And he's going to go Lightning Berserker, and he's going to attack with Typhoid Rats for 1. I'll take the 1 damage and go down to 22. My turn?
Yep.
Alright, so I'm in a bad situation here. Not a lot of mana, a lot of high-cost cards in my hand, which makes this bad. Go. Assuming he swings with Light Berserker next turn, that's going to be 3 damage with the 2 Typhoid Rats.
Draw. Let's go with a Gurmag Swiftwing, flying for a strike and haste for a 1/2. Let's go ahead and swing out completely.
So I'm down to 18 and my brother is still at perfect starting life total 20. My turn. Okay, this works for me now. Tap 1 for Soul Ring. Tap Soul Ring, which is 2 colorless, different from white. To get a Marble Diamond, which enters the battlefield tapped. And I add 1 to my 1 mana to my mana pool. Every time it gets tapped.
With myself with an open field, I'm not sure if you guys can see the full open field. Let's go ahead and move this down further.
It's not much. It's basically Typhoid. It's 2 Typhoid Rats.
It's not so much what's on the field. It's so much that I have an open field. Everything is tapped. None of his stuff is tapped, which means that he has the ability to swing if he so desires. With me having an open field, for him, it would be smart to swing with both Cathedral Sanctifier and the Avens with the Skirmisher.
But on the other side of the coin, if you swing with them now, you don't have stuff to block, which is fine.
But how likely are you looking to block that touch?
Well, I mean, I'm more worried about the Lightning Berserker and the Gurmag Swiftling. And I'm not really so concerned about, like, your deck right now. It's when it gets later into the battle. It's when I'm concerned.
Let's go ahead with another Lightning Berserker, and I'm going to play a Tormented Hero, which enters the battlefield tapped.
By the way, can you answer our viewers a question? Why aren't you using the dash cost for Lightning Berserkers?
Well, plenty of people like to use the dash cost just so that way they have a chance to bring it back to their hand. Me personally, I don't feel the need for it. If I lose it, I lose it. But on that note, I am going to swing out
with everything. That's possible. Also remember that Lightning Berserker does not have haste. So that will be 4 to me. I am now down to 16.
And Tormented Hero enters the battlefield tapped, so it's not attacking. So
right. Remember that. The camera rig's fine, dude. It's not really that big of a problem. If I really need, I'll move my stuff into the light a little bit. But they can only search it up on the air now on Google Images, so it's not like it's gonna be like, yeah. Untapping everything. All right. Hall of Triumph, it's a legendary artifact, and I choose the color white. All creatures I control of the chosen color get +1/+1. Even Skirmisher now is a 2/2 flyer, and Cathedral Sanctifier is 2/2 ground creature. And I will attack with Even Skirmisher in the air for 2. We are both at the same life total. I passed the turn.
You should be at 14.
I was at 8. Oh, yeah, 8. Okay, so he has 2 more left than me. At the beginning of his upkeep, tap 1 for Festival. He may not declare attack this turn. And Festival is a really old card, but Well, not really old, but it's an old card, but it's really good for controlling your opponent and what they use to attack. He's just placed down another Typhoid Rat, which is a really good card. Honestly, if you have flying and first strike, you can block anything, and it'll always swing first.
Alright, pass turn.
Alright. By the way, I only have one Festival in this deck. I'm saying this to the viewers, and my brother already knows this already. He's played against this deck before. What I will do is I'll tap 4, Congregate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 times 2, that's 18. I now gain...
He's now 32 health.
32 health. I will get that other dice. So I am at 32 life. I'll place... I need to situate my field a little bit. Congregate goes there, and I have 32 life. Congregate is definitely a card you're going to want to look into. That, Golden Knight Redeemer, Angel of Renewal, those guys give you a life for each creature you control. And I'm going to swing with Aven Skirmisher in the air for 2. He's going to block
in response, I'll block with Gurmag Swiftwing. I won't take any damage, but my Gurmag Swiftwing will die. The Skirmisher will stay alive.
And remember that the Gurmag Swiftwing is a 1/2. I made a mistake in one of the earlier games when I played, where I thought it was a 1/3. So, yes, and I believe we will be switching. Like we'll be playing like 3 rounds, right? So we'll be switching decks
depending on timing.
Depending on time.
Now, I'm gonna play another swamp, so that's 3 mana, so 2 swamps and 1 red. Alicia, who smiles at death, legendary creature. She is a human warrior. She has first strike, and whenever Alicia, who smiles at death, attacks, you may pay 1 black, or 2 white, 2 black, 1 white, and 1 white and 1 black. And if I do, I may return target creature card with power 2 or less from my graveyard to the battlefield tapped and attacking. Let's try to get some light on that.
And it's
that is Alicia, who smiles at death.
And it's a really good. It's in foil too, so it's not a bad card for a deck with power 2 or less. But
and since everything in my deck has a mana cost of 2 or less, Alicia, who smiles at death, is the only creature card in my deck that has a converted mana cost of 3.
And remember, just because you have a legendary creature does not mean that you are invincible. It just means that Alicia, who smiles at death, is going to give me a problem when he brings back stuff like his Gurmag Swiftwing to block my Aven Skirmisher.
Well, it's only 4 offense to begin with. But with that said, let's go ahead and get all 3 Typhoid Rats attacking. Let's get both Lightning Berserkers attacking. And let's get a Tormented Hero attacking, so that's 7 damage in total.
I'm going to get rid of one of your Lightning Berserkers.
That song was probably not appropriate.
So your Lightning Berserker dies, unless you want to give it +1/+0, but you're tapped out, which means you can't. So there goes your Lightning Berserker, and I'm taking 6 damage, so I'll go down to 26 health. Now, my brother taught me how to play, and I've beaten him like a couple times, but it's only when he gets screwed over mana-wise, or if I get like a totally awesome hand, which I rarely ever get. My turn?
Yes.
So that's another mana. So I now have 4 mana to play. Attack with Aven Skirmisher in the air. And I'll attack with Cathedral Sanctifier on the ground. So you can block with Alicia, or...
Which is not going to happen. I'll go down to 12.
So right now, I don't have the advantage. My brother does. Because I now have an open field. He can swing with everything and bring his Lightning Berserker or Gurmag Swiftwing back. Probably going to bring his Gurmag Swiftwing back.
But... sometimes it's not always great to assume. Remember, I have 2 cards in my hand at this time. I have 4 mana available to me, and I have an open field in front of me to attack with. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to swing all out.
And the only way I can kill him at this time is if I have a spell that just, like, pops down a ton of stuff, but I don't have that in my hand right now. If only you guys saw.
That's going to be 9 damage in total.
9 damage in total. Now, I can't do anything because I have an open field.
But now that I have attacked and I've swung.
So I take 9?
You take 9. I'll tap 1 red, 1 black, play Warname Aspirant. Warname Aspirant has a raid ability where it enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it if I attacked with creatures this turn. Warname Aspirant can't be blocked by creatures with power 1 or less. It's a 2/1 to start, but because I attacked with creatures this turn, it's going to become a 3/2.
And the most important thing you need to realize in games like these is that, you know, you have your, you have the mana, and you need to be able to play mana. So, getting mana out is really important. I know people who use green mana ramp, which means you can just get lands out constantly, no matter what. And because you can only play 1 land per turn, sorceries that allow you to put lands on the field are incredibly viable in green mana ramp decks, especially when green has the high attack power creatures. But because I'm using white, I don't have anything like that.
Now, since I still have 2 mana left over, 1 card in my hand, I'm going to do the same exact play. I'm going to send out another Warname Aspirant, which also gets another 1/1 counter on it.
If you guys want to learn more about these cards, like I said, you guys can look it up on Google Images or something like that, or I think there's a website where it has the index of, like, all the cards in Magic. So, even some that have their art changed. My turn?
Yep.
I have 5 mana. I'm going to tap the 5 mana for Sarah Angel on the field. A 4/4 flying vigilance, but because of Hall of Triumph, she's a 5/5 vigilance and flying. Now I can't attack with her yet because of summoning sickness, which hopefully you all understood.
If you don't, Summoning Sickness is when a creature first enters the battlefield. Once it hits the battlefield for the first turn that it is there, it cannot attack. However, with Summoning Sickness, a creature can block. So, for his turn, Sarah Angel is not available as an attacker, which means the only creatures that he can swing with are Cathedral Sanctifier and Aven Skirmisher. Now, with that said, come my turn, when I swing, should he choose to block with Sarah Angel, it is totally viable for him to block with that 5/5 Vigilance Flying Angel.
The only way you get out of res sickness is haste.
Summoning Sickness.
Summoning sickness, sorry. The only way you get out of summoning sickness is haste. And haste allows you to attack not necessarily first every combat, but allows you to attack as soon as the creature enters the battlefield. Now, dash is a little different because dash, it automatically gives it haste.
We'll go over that.
Sorry. Your turn.
Alright, turn has been passed. Untap.
But now when he swings with his Alicia, who smiles death, I now have viable blockers to get rid of it.
Should I swing with Alicia? And to be honest, all I need to do is swing with Alicia. I don't actually have to deal combat damage.
Exactly.
But because I don't feel like losing Alicia, I will be swinging. Let's go ahead and do 2 for Lightning Berserker's first ability, which is Lightning Berserker gets +1/+0 for each red mana tapped. Tap 2. So Lightning Berserker is hitting for a 3. I will swing with Tormented Hero for 2. Warname Aspirants for 3 each. And Typhoid Rats for 3 in total, for 3 of them. So that's going to be 3, 5, 11, 14.
So I will block your Lightning Berserker with my Sarah Angel.
Lightning Berserker dies, he still takes 5. He still takes 11 damage.
Not necessarily, and then not to stop clearing blockers.
Exactly.
And remember, he stays untapped because, again, vigilance. And I don't remember, but do creatures tap when you block?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna block that with Even Skirmisher and that with Cathedral Sanctifier.
So both of these die, but in addition, both of his creatures also die.
Which leaves my playing field open for attacks. And remember, I can't block creatures with Sarah Avatar because I've already chosen to block one, getting rid of his Lightning Berserker. Now, saying that that's the case, I take 5. So I go down to 12 life. And if you guys really want to get into Magic and, feel comfortable with playing with a deck, just get, any intro packs. Those are good. What you can actually do is get a core set, which gives you a lot of cards and a lot of room to work with. And giving that room to work with, which means you can play and make constructed, which we'll talk about at the end of the video, constructed versus limited and things like that. But we don't want to go too far into it.
Should we have time left?
I'm pretty sure we will. I mean,
considering Mr. Chatterbox here, who has yet to take his turn.
I did not hear you say go. That being said,
semantics aside, it is your turn.
Go.
So, not swinging with the Sarah Avatar, or Sarah Angel, even though it has Vigilance and I don't have anything to block it with, that would have been 5 damage to the face that he could have potentially given me.
Remember, it's not always good to swing. Sometimes you have plans.
But when you have a creature that has Vigilance that doesn't tap even if it swings, which allows you to keep it as a blocker, it makes sense to swing. Especially when someone draws a certain card that could potentially cause an issue for the creature that you're using. So,
let me guess, Doomblade.
Nope. Let's go ahead and tap 1 red, 2 black.
Got strike.
Let's go ahead and put a Mardu Rune Mark on Typhoid Rats. Now,
yes,
what Mardu Rune Mark does is it enchants a creature, which means that it goes onto Typhoid Rats. Mardu Rune Mark also gives enchanted creature +2/+2, so my 1/1 Death Touch is now a 3/3 Death Touch. However, the last effect of Mardu Rune Mark is that an enchanted creature has first strike as long as you control a white or black permanent. Since Typhoid Rats and Tormented Hero are both black permanents, Mardu Rune Mark's last ability is activated, which means that Typhoid Rats is now a 3/3 first strike Death Touch.
This is true, but that's saying that you also have flying as well, which means you need to have an enchantment with flying in order to actually cause a problem for my Sarah Angel.
However, let's go ahead and swing with Tormented Hero, 2 Typhoid Rats, and my 3/3 first strike Death Touch Rat.
This is going to be the wrong decision, but Conference, which means all damage that is prevented, and it deals that damage that he's dealing to me back to his creatures. So all of his creatures will die except for Alicia, who smiles death, because Alicia, who smiles death, isn't attacking. Which means that,
well, a better way to do it is just to read the cards straight out. So, Comeuppance, 4 mana, 3 colorless, and 1 white. As an instant, prevent all damage that will be dealt to you and planeswalkers you control this turn by sources you don't control, meaning preventing damage to him and everything on his side of the field from my stuff. If damage from a creature, Tormented Hero, Typhoid Rats, is prevented this way, Comeuppance deals that much damage to that creature, which means Tormented Hero is being dealt 2 damage. Both of my Typhoid Rats are being dealt 1 damage each, and my Typhoid Rats with the enchantment is being dealt 3 damage to itself. If damage from a non-creature source is prevented this way, Comeuppance deals that much damage to the source's controller. Meaning that if I had a spell that dealt damage directly to him, and he stopped it with Comeuppance, it would deal that much damage right back to me.
So let's say you're playing a Fireball, which is a spell that's X and X and 1 red spell, or 1 red mana, and it deals that much damage. It deals X damage, which is the amount you pay extra to deal that much damage. If he had that and he played that on me, and I used Comeuppance, I don't know how to say it. Comeuppance, and I played that, he'd be dealt. Let's say he tapped 12 to deal 12 damage directly to me. Comeuppance, blah blah blah. I deal 12 damage back to him, which actually would kill him at this point, but he doesn't have Fireball in the deck, and I'm only preventing damage for creatures.
However, Comeuppance can prevent the damage from both creatures and spells.
Yes. So, it is now my turn, assuming that you have nothing more to play.
Empty hand, 2 mana left untapped. I have nothing more.
Okay, this is a very important step because this one's going to seem a little confusing to some because some people may have not seen this land yet. But Karoo. Now, Karoo enters the battlefield tapped. It's not a basic land, which makes this card different. It enters the battlefield tapped, and when a Karoo enters the battlefield tapped, sacrifice it unless you return an untapped plains to my hand, or to its owner's hand, which is mine. When I tap it. Not this turn, but when I tap it, like the next turn, it gives me 2 mana instead of just 1, like my plains here would. So this leaves me now with 4 mana to play. What I shall then do forecast Paladin of Perov to get Serra Angel lifelink, basically. When you forecast it, reveal Paladin of Perov from your hand. Whenever target creature deals damage this turn, you gain that much life. I'm going to swing for 5 in the air. My brother Jason goes down to 7, and I go up to 17. Assuming that my brother has something to play next turn, a creature perhaps, I have an open field, and remember, Serra Angel does not tap to attack because of Vigilance. Why don't you put your Alicia's Who Smiles at Death right there, so that way everybody can see it's on the field.
So, I'm going to do 2 for Borderland Marauder, which whenever it attacks, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn.
Remember, it has Summoning Sickness, so it cannot do anything.
Exactly. Going back through my graveyard, I don't see anything that I necessarily want, so...
Although it's good to return something back. I mean, could always return your Gearmag Swiftwing.
But I would lose Alicia because you would block.
True.
So I'm going to go ahead and pass turn. Now, the issue with this deck that I'm using right now is that this deck is fully dependent on the opponent not bringing out large creatures. So this deck is only viable if you're playing against someone who has a deck of equally smaller creatures, or someone that is using a deck that does not rely on creatures at all, such as the 8-rack.
Nyx Fleece Ram is 0/5, and at the beginning of your upkeep, it gain 1 life. I do, at my upkeep. And I'm going to play Silverblade Paladin. I'm going to Soulbound it with Serra Angel to give it double strike. And I'm gonna swing with Serra Angel for double strike in the air. That's game.
Yep.
So when I brought out Serra Angel, I basically had this game under wraps. It wasn't gonna get killed unless my brother buffed Lightning Berserkers. But considering that he had his Alicia out early, he could have done it earlier, and that would have worked. But I still would have been able to block it and kill it. So.
This game was fully dependent on something like Sarah Evans or Sarah Angel not hitting the field.
And I just want to let you know the cards that were in my hand were these: Sarah Avatar, Paladin of Parab, which I already showed you guys, and Resupply. Now Resupply is a weird card because it makes you gain 6 life, and then you draw a card. So, by the way.